Hey everyone, welcome back to Indicted TV. I'm your host Negra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Before we start, we gotta give a shout out to my sponsors, LA Kush on Sunset. Make sure you use promo code Negra40 at the Sunset location only. And you already know, Royalty Honey. Keep it hard, guys. That's a good one, huh?
Yeah, I always laugh when you say that.
On today's episode, we have Spanky. Welcome to Indicted TV, Spanky.
Well, thank you for having me. Definitely a fan of what you guys got going on.
Thank you.
And I love the show.
Thank you.
Sure.
I love that you love the show. You know, I that's like the thing. Like, I love that people love it, you know.
Right.
It makes me happy, obviously, right? It makes people happy when they watch the shows. People could relate. There's some that could, there's some that can't. It's not for everybody, but it definitely is for us.
100%.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And yeah, you guys definitely are doing it and shining light on, you know, our culture and the things that, you know, we go through on a daily.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you. All right, so let's start, Spanky. Tell us where you're from. I don't mean the gang.
Right.
Where you grew up, you know, your mom, dad, brothers, sisters, the inside of your house growing up.
All right, so basically I grew up in Long Beach, California, specifically on the north side in the Carmelitos projects. It's the only projects in Long Beach, so most people know that. I grew up in a 7-sibling household, me being the youngest of the 7, so I have all older brothers and sisters, you know, 3 brothers, 3 sisters.
Wow.
So, you know, a mixture of both, right?
But
really,
you being the baby is intense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got to see it all, and I got to witness everything, right? But, you know, my mother basically raised us on our own. We never really had the father figure role, so to speak. I would definitely...
What the heck is that?
My bad.
It's me?
Was that...
Your mother raised you.
So yeah, my mother basically raised us, and being that I have older brothers, they were basically like my father figure roles in my life, you know, and then having women, you know, also was something that, you know, I was able to learn from and see the way, you know, women get down. So that's a whole different thing.
How old is your oldest brother, if you don't mind me asking?
So my oldest brother today, I would say 62.
Got it.
62, yes. So, and then it just trickles down from there. So like, everybody's about a year, maybe 2-3 years apart. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Right. But yeah, growing up in the projects, you know, is definitely a, how can I say it? It was, what would you say, like, interesting for sure.
In the
you know?
80s as well.
Right,
in
right.
the 80s.
I grew up, you know, in the 80s, and a lot of the early 90s, you know, that was pretty much my era throughout living in the projects. But yeah, there was a lot of crazy stories, you know, as far as like things that I've been through and seen with my family.
As far as like what do you want to share? Something?
Yeah, like
kind of, you know, stands out the most as you being a child, you know, young kid, not even a teenager yet.
Right. So definitely like just growing up, like my oldest brother at the time, he was basically like one of the you can say like the main supplier in the projects.
Oh,
of, you know,
okay.
Yeah, and that was like the crack epidemic, right?
Yes.
So that was a crazy time, and just kind of like, you know, growing up and seeing all of that, you know, how addicting it was to a lot of people, and the things that people would do behind it, you know,
yes.
was definitely a trip. But yeah, being that like my brother was involved, so you know, of course, so were my other brothers, you know.
And what about your sisters?
Well, my sisters, no, they pretty much like just did their thing, stood away from things like that, right? Like my brother didn't really involve them like that, you know, but he did involve my younger brothers for sure.
You mean your older brothers?
I mean my older brother, his younger brothers.
Of
my
course,
bad.
I know what you meant.
His
I was
younger
just
brothers.
giving you a hard time.
Yeah, for sure.
But your sisters probably did like the type, or no? Like, you know, the same type of men?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, yes. Like they ended up, you know, dating the same type.
They wore the feathers?
Some, yes. It just depended on the year,
Okay,
right? Like so throughout the years it changed, right? But yeah, it did. It started with the feather and things like that. But yeah, you know, growing up, it was definitely a crazy time because, you know, my older brothers, not my oldest, I would say the second oldest, you know, he ended up going and committing murder in the project. So he ended up having a situation with his road dog. Happened to be his best friend at that moment, you know, and it was a crazy situation because it all boiled down to, you know, a situation with his girlfriend at the time.
It's always,
which is, you know, his wife today, you know, but just so happened that, you know, they all lived together. And we lived in separate homes at different times within the project. So like my brother had his own house, my other brothers. So like they lived at their own house at that moment in the projects. And you know, my brother's house was known more for like the party house and just like a lot of things were going on and happening at that time at his house, you know. And I was really young, so I was probably about, I would say 9, 10, 11, you know. And then, you know, at this time, you know, one day, you know, he was heavily involved, you know what I mean, with drugs.
He used as well.
Yes, and he was actually mixing drugs at that time, right? From my understanding, and what he told me. So he was smoking sherm.
Ooh.
And he was dipping it in actual like speed, you know. So can you imagine, like, sherm is already a whole nother trip, you know what I mean? So on top of that, like, he's putting speed inside of his sherm
and dipping it,
and then dipping it and smoking it, you know. So
damn.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
intense.
my brother, he was definitely, and this is my second oldest, he was definitely known, like, throughout the projects, is like everybody knew my brother Willie, you know. Like if you grew up in the projects, you definitely knew him, and he was a fool, you know, straight up. Like, people were scared of him.
I mean,
you know,
that's intense.
Yeah, like he would come through the projects, and you know, when Willie came through, people knew, like, hey,
get out the way, bro.
Here he comes. Like we don't know what to expect or what's gonna go down.
Yeah.
But some shit's gonna go down.
Yeah.
You know. So my brother would walk around with a big old like Sunny Delight bottle, and he would just have it like half vodka, half Sunny Delight, and
on top of everything else.
That was his thing daily, you know. So on this specific day, you know, he comes home from a long bender, I would guess, you know. I was still like a very young kid, right? But this will make sense later on, how I got all the story and everything, right? So he comes home from a long bender of partying, and as he gets upstairs, you know, he sees his girlfriend at the time, and she's crying. You know, she's crying, and he's just like, wow, like, what happened? You know, what's wrong? What's going on? So at that time, he had his best friend living with them, and his best friend was also dating his girlfriend's sister.
Okay.
So, you know, it was like a couple thing, like the sisters, they had both their old man, and then they happen to be road dogs, you know. So she went ahead and just like told him that you know, he raped her, his best friend. You know, I don't want to say his name, but like that he had raped her. And, you know, in that specific situation, him being already
not mentally all right.
Right, you know, and just, you know, to throw in drinking and drugs. And so he kind of just like flipped out, you know what I mean? And he went across the street to go get a gun. And as he approached back, as he was coming back into his yard, you know, his homie actually was coming out of the house, and his homeboy was trying to like explain to him, like, hey, Willie, you know. And at that moment, like, my brother didn't give him the opportunity to speak or to get his side of what happened, you know. And he ended up killing him. And yeah, he shot him like 9 times, like I would say like 5 times in the torso and like 5 times in the face and the head.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it was pretty gruesome. Like it was a crazy murder scene. And
you remember it?
I remember it as a kid. Yeah, like I remember the next day, you know, everyone heard the gunshots and just finding out like, yeah, that was your brother. You know what I mean? And I was just like, wow, like
they took
shocked.
Your brother?
No, they didn't take him. He actually got away. You know, he actually was on the run.
Okay.
For a couple years after that situation.
Wow.
Yes. But just knowing that your older brother just killed someone, right? And then me knowing my brother's house, I've been there. Like, I used to go there all the time, and you know what I mean? Like I said, my older brothers were like
their dads.
Yeah, like my pops, but you know, my big brothers. And so, you know, I remember going to the house and looking at the murder scene, you know. And
so you saw?
Yeah, I actually saw the murder scene, and just like it was crazy. Like, what, you know.
Obviously, it's traumatizing. You're a young boy.
Definitely.
You know, you're a young boy. Like, obviously, like I could see your face right now, and you know, you're visualizing it because it's something that traumatized you. It's something that you are not ever going to be able to forget. And I mean, in a way, obviously, it's good because you know you always have those memories. You know, like this is something you don't ever want to go through. You don't ever want to put I don't know if you have kids or not. You know, you don't ever want your kids to experience anything like that, you know, because it's hurtful. It's hurtful.
Definitely.
So tell me more.
So, you know, and that was just like the early years of my life growing up in the projects, right? So,
because I'm sure you saw kind of a lot of those kind of, maybe not exactly like that situation, but just like, you know, what, like hearing your mom or like, you know, your brothers, I haven't spoke to him, he's gone.
Right.
Or like things like that, you know?
Well, yeah, like we definitely knew everything that was going on. You know what I mean? Like of course, you know, everybody's gonna try to, you know, make it seem as if your brother's, you know, this horrible person and this and that, but at the end of the day, like, that's our family, you know. So we're not gonna see him in that same light, right? Even though, like, we understand the situation, you know what I mean, but like, you know, at the time it didn't matter. That's my brother, you know. That's my big brother. So I really didn't care what people thought or what people, you know, how to say about it. So, you know, just that was already the beginning of like me kind of seeing like real life and like the way things go down, you know what I'm saying, as far as like you never know what can happen, you know what I'm saying, and it could be between two people that are considered to be friends, right? Like road dogs, homies.
Yeah. So
that was just already like a crazy situation, and you know, things like that would occur after that, you know, and a lot of different scenarios and situations, you know what I mean? Like, this was the crack epidemic, right? So like, you know, you think about it, like you have drug dealers, you know, and I would say like at that time, this was like late 80s, early 90s, right? So the population was very mixed, right? So I grew up around a lot of blacks and Mexicans, you know what I mean? So being probably heavily populated more with blacks than Mexicans at that time, right? So, you know, my brother, then my older brother, remember, like he was basically the supplier of the projects. So everything basically went through him, and everybody knew my brother. Like if you grew up like, or you were in the projects at that time, everybody knew Big Ed. Like everybody knew the head honcho. That's what they would call him. You know what I'm saying? So everybody knew him. Everybody knew of him, and you know, he was supplying to everyone, right? And everybody wanted to be like him.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel like a sense of empowerment. You know what I mean? Like yeah, that's my big brother. You know, like I can carry that and know like ain't nobody messing with me or my family, period. You know, throughout that whole, you know, time in our life. You know what I mean? Because everybody had like the utmost respect for my brother, and you know, our my other brothers as well. Like knowing the situation with my brother Willie, like I said, my brother was a fool, you know, and he had my brother's back to the fullest. So imagine that, you know what I mean? On top of everything else, and then you got your younger brother who's basically with whatever. So people are definitely gonna respect that, you know. And growing up, that being my family, ain't nobody messing with me either. You know what I'm saying? So
do you think that sense of empowerment is what led you to your lifestyle as well, which is maybe not exactly the same lifestyle they had, because obviously they're older and it's different years, but do you feel like like that's what led you to living your lifestyle as well? Like you literally wanted to be like your big brothers?
Ultimately,
I mean, I don't know your story. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, but ultimately, yes. Yeah, definitely. It definitely had an impact on my life. It definitely had like an impact on the decisions I made and the things that I've done, you know, growing up, you know. But yeah, so I would say like my journey, or whatever you want to call it, into, you know, gang banging, selling dope, you know, that lifestyle probably started around 12 and 13 years old. You know what I mean? I could think back to a day that I was getting ready to go to school, and as I'm getting ready to go to school, I come out to the backyard and my cousin was back there. So my cousin Boo Boo, you know, he was also like my brother. You know what I mean? Very close with my brothers, like tight-knitted. And at that time, you know, he was selling dope. You know, he was selling dope, and he would sell it out from our backyard, I remember. So I could remember him just being back there all night until the morning. So I'm getting up for school.
And it's his turn to work.
You know, I'm just a kid, and he's still out there working. You know what I mean? Till the morning. So as I come out to go to school, you know, like this is like my brother, right? So I'm like, "What's up, Boo?" And he's just like, "Oh, what's up?" You know, and we get to talking. And he's like, "Check this out," you know, and he shows me some crack, and I'm just like, "Well, what's up with that?" And he's like, "Watch, I'm about to sell this and make some money right now." And I'm like, "Off that? Like you're gonna make how much?" And I'm talking like just a little piece of rock, and he's just like, $10 for this, you know. He starts showing me, and I'm just like, I couldn't believe it at the time. I was like,
was he
what?
the first one to actually show you?
Yes. Like my brothers definitely didn't expose me to any of that at that time, because I was still.
You were like 11, 12 years old.
Yes, I'm still very young, you know. But me and my cousin Boo Boo, we had a different relationship, right? Like he would be at my house a lot more, and just like, you know, I looked up to him also, and me and him talked a lot more at that moment in my life, right? My brothers had their family, and they were older, they're out of the house, you know? So he's like, "Here, this, watch." He gives me a piece of rock, and he's like, "Watch, we're gonna sell it and you're gonna make $10. And I'm just like at that time, $10 was you know what I mean? That was like $10 was a lot of money back then. You know, like $100 bill was like, that shit was like $100. Like you got $100 in the early 90s. Like
you're doing all right.
Right. Like that's money, you know. But anyhow, so we're hanging out, and I'm supposed to be going to school, you know, but I decided like I'ma just ditch. I'ma ditch, hang out with my cousin, and make some money. That's what I'm thinking. Time? That was my first time ever, right? So sure enough, like a car pulls up, my cousin hops the gate, he runs up to the car, he's talking to the dude in the window, and then he calls me like, come here, primo, you know? And then I hop the gate, and I have the little rock in my hand, you know? And he's like, give that to him. And then so I gave it to him. The dude gave me $10, and I was like, damn, like that's it? Like that was easy. You know what I'm saying? Like I went back, jumped the gate, and my cousin said, this how it is all day. And that's what it was. Like he would sit back there and just cars pull up, and he would just consistently just selling dope. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my introduction into that, you know? So, you know, throughout that time, I could remember like my older brother, he had got raided, you know? He got raided, and they didn't happen to find anything, you know what I mean? Like
he was good.
Like, he was on top of his shit, right?
He wasn't a user.
No, my brother was never a user to this day. Like he don't smoke weed, he don't drink, like, you know what I mean? He was always on top of his shit as far as that goes, like, you know. But yeah, so they had raided him, and they didn't find anything, but they knew what was going on. Like, you know how it is. You got snitches, you got, you know, all types of shit, haters, everything. But he didn't get busted, you know? He didn't get busted. He ended up getting caught up later on in life, you know what I mean? And he ended up getting caught up because he was actually driving with some stuff, you know what I'm saying? So he ended up getting pulled over, and he was with someone. And then
this is about you though.
Right. But yeah, this will come back around, right? So like growing up, so I would say, you know, that was my introduction, right? And then basically gang banging, right? That's kind of where, like, I would say I was like 13 years old, right?
Wait, let me ask you. So when after this first time that, you know, your cousin put that one piece in your hand, what happened? Did you continue? Did you tell him like, hey, I want to start doing this? Like, did your brothers find out?
So basically from that, like, I didn't continue, right? Like I didn't continue selling crack or anything like that.
That was just that one time?
It was just that one time, but that was like my introduction to it, right?
Got it.
So I would say around like 13, I began actually selling weed.
Okay.
That's kind of like where I started. Like I was selling weed, and at the time it was like nickel bags were a big thing, right? So I was selling nickel bags, and I happened to be selling for some dude, some older homie, and you know, after a little while of doing that, I was like, man, like, why am I making this dude money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like after seeing my brothers and how they were doing things, they just didn't want me involved. So they didn't know what I was doing.
So you were just trying to find a way.
I was doing this on my own, like outside of everything that my family had going on.
And you were going to school though?
Yes.
Okay.
I was still going to school at this time. So, you know, I was doing that for a little bit, and then I was like, nah, like if I'm gonna sell and I'm gonna do this, like I need to do it for myself, you know. So
well, at least you had that thought at a young age, like right away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what
definitely.
I'm saying?
Like seeing like the hustle mentality of my family, like that was already like input into, you know, my mentality and the way that like I seen things. Like I'm not gonna make someone else money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna definitely do it for myself. So that's kind of how like I continued doing that, and then from that is when the actual I would say gang life portion of my life started, right? Because back in the days, you know, I'm from Northside Longo, so we were always been a small neighborhood, and I would say like in the 70s when the neighborhood has started, and then it happened to just die out like completely. Like, I mean, like, it was rare that you ever ran into anybody, you know, from there. And but we did originate from the Carmelitos projects, you know. So growing up, always knowing this, you know what I'm saying, like being that, like, that's my upbringing, that's my culture, that's my people, you know what I'm saying. So I've always had an interest in that as well, you know. I've always dressed the part. I've always like just felt like that was my lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, already from the very beginning. And then
your brothers as
right,
well.
Right, especially because of my brothers as well, you know. But you know, my brothers didn't gangbang. They didn't gangbang at all. Like,
they're just into the money making.
Money making. That was it, you know. And even though like my brother hung out with a lot of people and this and that, and he definitely knew of everything, like, he just was doing his thing, you know what I mean? He was just about making money.
Got it.
So yeah, like I would say in like, I would say about 90, what is it, about 92, 93, somewhere around there, was like the time where, you know, the talk was going around about like bringing back the Northside Longueros, right? So, you know, it's a lot of young homies that grew up there, that we grew up with, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we definitely were the beginning of that again. So we decided we were gonna bring back Northside Longo.
You and your little friends.
Me, all my little homies. And then also there were some older homies involved, you know what I'm saying, that knew what time it was, that done time, and they were a big part of what was going on. You know
obviously, because you had to like get an okay, like, to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
100%. You know what I'm saying? So from that moment, that's where like my journey into gangbanging, you know, started, right? I would say, like I said, like 13 years old, about 13 years old. And then, you know, not my oldest brother, I would say the youngest
Their third
of
brother.
my third. Yes. He ended up, he was locked up at that time, right? And then he had ended up getting out around this time where all this is happening. So he's older. He's probably around like 20 something at that moment, right? I'm like 13. And he happened to like see what was going on, and he got involved, you know what I mean? Just getting out of prison. And so, like, you know, he was a big part of what was going down. Everybody knew Big Weddle, like, straight up. Like, my brother was like 6'4".
Oh, wow.
You know, 200 and some pounds, buff as hell. Just got out the pen, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he was healthy as right? And definitely his presence was known, you know. Everybody growing up from the neighborhood on, from that day, like they knew Big Weddle, and everyone respected Weddle. And you know, my brother was a fool too, you know. He followed suit with my other brother, you know what I'm saying? So he was also an addict too, and he was smoking Sherm at that time, you know what I'm saying? So, like, not an addict, I can't say an addict, you know what I'm saying? Like, he would just smoke Sherm here and there. And when he would smoke Sherm, it was definitely like, oh shit, you know, here we go. But yeah, so.
No, I laugh because I feel like I can relate, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I could like
Right.
oh shit, here comes it, like, oh, this was gonna smoke today, so
yes.
something's gonna happen.
Yes, you know, so at that time, my brother at that time was a big influence on my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 13 years old. He just gets out of prison. You know, we're from the same neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? That's my big brother. Like, you know,
that's your big brother. He's a big homie.
Yeah, that's my big carnal right there. So we definitely were running together, and just, you know, he was showing me a lot that, like, I didn't know, or a lot of introducing me to a lot of different ways of things that, you know, were going on at that moment. So me and my brother, we happened to be, you know, doing a lot of different shit. Like he introduced me, like, I started smoking sherm at a very young age too. I was probably about like 14, you know. I dabbled in a lot of different things though at that time. Like, I was already smoking weed at about like 11 years old. Like, I can remember my first time smoking weed, and just like I would be going to school, getting high on the way to school, like at a very young age, like junior high, you know what I mean? But yeah, so at this time, like, I dabbled in a lot of different things. I had already smoked like Primos, and we were smoking Sherm, you know, so
Lovelies,
all that, yeah. We had,
you laugh.
We were doing.
Because if you know that. If you're in the era, then you know.
Lovelies, you know? Were like, that was our shit. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that was definitely a hectic time, you know, because at this time also, like, our neighborhoods new, and we're getting it, you know, building it again from the ground up, you know. Mm-hmm. So a lot of crazy things were happening in that time, right?
Yeah.
And my brother happened to also introduce me into like robberies. Like, that's where we started like robbing like dope dealers and shit like that. And that was our thing, right? Like, we would definitely find out who was selling dope, and we would go there. We would act like we were the police, and we would break in and we would rob them. You know, that was a big a big thing. Yeah, that was a big thing for a little while. You know what I mean? And my brother happened to ended up getting locked up again. You know, I believe it was like for a violation at that time, right? So at the moment now, I'm out. I'm on the streets. I'm on my own. Like,
you moved on your own.
No, I'm on my own because, like, my oldest brother's locked up. All of my brothers are locked up. All three of them are locked up now. You know what I mean? So it's just me and my sisters, you know, and my mother. So, you know, this is like where I began, you know, helping my brother's family out, my oldest brother's family, and just making sure, you know, that they were safe, and helping, you know, trying to help them as far as like making money and things like that, you know, for their household. But I was also caught up in my own shit, right? So I continued robbing and doing these things, you know, that I was doing with my brother, you know what I mean? So I was like 15. Now I'm like 15 years old, right? And I happened to get caught up in like a robbery. So we ended up robbing this home, a home invasion, armed robbery. We ended up tying up the people. We ended up,
wow.
yeah. So me and my homeboys, like, we ended up, you know, doing what we did, and then we end up having like a high-speed chase afterwards. So as we're leaving, we're in a U-Haul truck, you know. Like, I remember like we had rented a U-Haul truck beforehand
to do it,
yeah. So like we had it all planned out, you know what I mean? And so as we're leaving in the U-Haul truck, you know, it just so happened that we passed a police officer.
And didn't even know.
They didn't know, but they did know, right? Because they see us in the front seat. Like, I'm 15.
Yeah.
My homeboy's 16.
You guys are kids.
We're driving this big U-Haul truck. You know what I mean?
What are they supposed to doing?
So off the bat, they were like, they busted a and they were trying to pull us over. You know what I mean? So I had two homeboys in the back too. Two of my homeboys were in the back.
Those fools were probably flying in the back.
Yeah, those fools. One fool actually flew out.
Oh my goodness.
One fool actually flew out. So we got in a high-speed chase, and shit was just flying out the back. You know, boom, boom, and these fools are holding on, like they're trying not to fly out too. You know what I mean? So we hit. I remember we hit like a big dip, and I could see one of my homeboys. He fell out. And I'm looking through the rearview mirror, and I see him, right? And I'm like, oh shit, like, and then he gets up and he just runs off, and I'm like, what the fuck, right? And they didn't chase him, they continue to chase us. So then, you know, we're still having a high speed chase or whatnot. Now there's still like one more homie, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I could talk about this because this is already done. I like a case that I've done my time on and everything.
Of course,
right?
obviously you were talking about it.
Exactly. So for sure, like he was holding on in the back, trying not to fall out himself. And then so our thought was like, let's get back to the projects, right? Because if we get back to the projects, we know how to get away, you know? So boom, we have a high-speed chase. Now we have about like 10 police cars on us, you know what I'm saying? And we're trying to like just make it back to the projects so that we can jump out and go where we need to go. So we make it back to the projects. Boom, we ended up crashing in one of the parking lots, and then we jump out and we all run, you know? One of my homeboys go one way, and then so I go the opposite way, and then my other homeboy followed me, you know? So I'm just like, so I ended up jumping the gate and hiding in one of, you know, like my buddies, like their houses, like someone who I consider real like close to me, like she was like a mother figure to me also. And I ended up jumping into her yard and hiding in the laundry room, right? But the homie that followed me, he ended up, you know, coming into the yard as well. And the dog didn't know him, but the dog knew me, right?
Yeah.
So the dog's barking now. The dog's barking and making, you know, a big scene. And so when the police came,
damn, the fool ruined it.
Yeah, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn.
Like, yeah, like, cause the dog, like, I knew the family. I was really close with them and everything, right? But anyhow, they come and they pull us out. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting busted that day, like at 15 years old.
That was your first time ever going to jail for this robbery. That you went on the high-speed chase, the home invasion.
Right.
And okay.
Yeah, so like I was 15 years old. Like I've been in other situations as far as like smaller things
or
whatever,
but this was your
never
actual time that you're getting arrested and you're going to Los Padrinos.
Yup. Exactly.
So, and you're a gang member now.
Right.
You're a gang member.
Right.
You're 15. You know you're super firme. You think you're all hard.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You know, so you
especially
get arrested.
at that time.
You go to juvenile hall.
Yeah.
What happens?
So, you know, I remember going to juvenile hall, boom. You know, right when I got there, they're already trying to get me to like tell on my older homies and trying to like coerce me into like, and I'm just like, I ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Whatever you got. Like, let's go. Like, fuck it. I ain't tripping on whatever. So I already know what time it is, you know what I'm saying? Like my brother, yeah, like definitely. So they ended up taking me down to LP, and I could just remember waking up like not believing it. Like I didn't believe it. I'm 15 years old. I'm waking up in this little cell. I remember they took me down there. They ended up stripping us out. They ended up, you know, giving us some little jumps, not even a jumpsuit. It was just like pants and a shirt. And then they threw us in this room in one of the dorms, right? So I remember waking up just like I'm
really in jail.
I'm really like I'm locked up. Like I'm in LP, you know what I mean? Like,
your poor mom went through so much with you guys, huh?
Oh man, yeah. She definitely been through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, all my brothers, we all did time. You know, so. Did
you call your mom?
Oh yeah. At that time, you know, I'm 15, so that's the first person I'm gonna call. You know what I mean? But I just told my mom, like, I'm over here in LP in Los Padrinos, and, you know, she's just like, why? What happened? And I'm not, like, you know, I couldn't be like, Mom, like this or that. Like, I just like, I didn't do it. You know, I didn't do it. Like
damn well you did.
Right. But, you know, like, to your mom, you're innocent. So, you know, you can't just, like, I never really just broke it down to my mom, you know, like what was going on as far as, like, the street life. Even though she knew, my mom's not stupid, right?
Obviously. Like,
she knew. And there was plenty of times where, like, my mom would just be like if we're hanging out and she seen the police, you know, coming through, and she'd be like, cops. Let us know, like, hey, the cops are coming. And because she knew what was up. Like, she knew we either had something. Right, she knew. Right, you know, and, like, not that she was, like, trying to be a part of that. It's just that, like, these are her children. Of course. And she don't want to see her children go to jail. No, of course. You know what I mean? And she's also, yeah, and she's also not, like, cool with what we're doing in our lifestyle, right? But then at the same token, like, this is what it is. So, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you get to Los Padrinos, you wake up.
Oh, my God.
And you're like, oh, man, I'm in jail.
So I wake up, and I'm like, I'm in LP.
You put it anywhere.
You know what I mean? So at that moment, like, you know, I've heard stories, you know what I mean? And you know, me personally, like I was already, like, on my gangbang shit, and, like, I was like, it is what it is, and I already know what's up. Like, I know, like it's time to ride. Like, it's time to suit up and boot up, because, you know, everybody knows when you hit LP, you know what I'm saying? It's like gladiator school. Like you got to get down, and definitely you going to run into your enemies, all that, you know? But
you were there with your friends.
I was there with only one of my homies. Okay. You know? So, and he was a year older than me, so we were in different units. Got it. You know what I mean? So I was on my own. But, so, you know, remember, like, where I grew up in Long Beach, it's very, you can say, like, racially divided, you know? And you have a little bit of everything out there, right? And the homies, you know what I'm saying? Like at that moment, we mainly beefed with different races. Like that was our thing out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to say, like, we didn't get along with different races, but
that's just the way it was.
A lot of our enemies were of different race, you know, at that time. So, you know what I mean? Now I'm in LP, I'm 15, and now I gotta, you know what I'm saying, hold down for my neighborhood and for myself. So I'm already knowing what's up. Like, off the bat, like, I'm gonna run into everybody, you know? So sure enough, you know, I would say, like, I don't know if it was like a day or 2 days, I don't remember for sure, but it was like a orientation or whatever, like a day or two, something like that. And then, you know, you get to come out and be with the population, area, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the first day that I got out, you know, I remember seeing other fools from different neighborhoods, meeting a bunch of homies from all over, you know, and then learning about, like, their enemies, like, who they were beefing with, because I didn't know, like, we were, you know what I'm saying, we're in our own world over here, and, like, I didn't know, like, these fools beefed it with these fools, and I didn't know homies beef with homies, right? Like raza beefing with raza, but, you know, when I hit the halls is where, you know, I seen all that, right? Because, like I say, where I'm at is pretty racially divided, you know? Sure. And so we take care of our own mainly. And so, yeah, growing, like, just seeing that, like was a trip. And at that moment, I didn't have any of my enemies there at that time. And then it just so happened that a dude rolled up from one of my enemy neighborhoods, and that's when, you know, it was a really big thing in Long Beach with the Cambodians. You know what I'm saying? We were going at it tough with the Cambodians at that time. So one of them happened to pull up, you know. So I'm already knowing, like, you know, it's.
You always been tall?
I would say not tall, but like taller, like as far as for a Mexican, right? Like I've always had a little more height than the normal, right? So as soon as he pulled up, fool's already coming to my door. Like, hey, homie, like,
this was here.
Hey, Spanky, check it out, fool. Like this fool's here from, you know what I'm saying, TRGs or whatnot. And I'm just like, all right, cool, like, and they're homies be pumping shit up too. Sure. Like, hey, this fool said he's dissing your hood and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? They're pumping shit up. So like, I'm already knowing. As soon as I see him, it's on. And sure enough, boom, we come out for day room. I'm coming out to the day room. The dude he's in the front of the line, right? So, you know, I'm waiting for the right moment. You know what I'm saying? And
you were nervous a little bit? It was your first fight in jail?
Actually, like, I wasn't nervous. I was like anxious to, like, you know, to f this fool up, like seriously, like, you know, and that's kind of where my focus was. I was more nervous of getting maced or getting tackled and then getting chicken wing, because that's what they used to do to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? They would, the staff there would f you up. Like, you know, they would grab us, try to like break our arms and shit. But yeah, so sure enough, we ended up going to school. We went to school, nothing happened yet, and then we ended up going to like PE, right? So I was like, all right, this is the perfect moment, you know what I'm saying? So fucking, I see him, I diss him, I call him out, I let him know where I'm from, and he don't say shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm telling that fool, like, what's up? And like, basically, he didn't want none.
Oh.
You know, he didn't want none. So like, you know, like soon as something like that happens, like, you're straight, like, marked out, you know what I'm saying? Like he's on the level. That's it. Like, that fool's done, you know? Yeah. But the homies, everybody knew it. Everybody seen it.
So that's what mattered.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to get in a fight.
Nah, I didn't have to beat his ass. Right. Yeah, I didn't have to beat his ass.
You know, you didn't have to get chicken or whatever the fuck.
Chicken wing. No, for real. Yeah. Yeah. Well, seriously.
That's good. Did you? How long were you fighting this case for?
So I was fighting this case for. I remember I was 15, I turned 16, almost 2 years.
Oh, wow. So you
almost
were in
2 years.
You were in Los Padrinos for this long?
I was in LP, but then, you know, they wanted to try me as an adult. Okay. So I was probably one of the first group of youngsters that got tried as an adult. I could remember like I was 15 and you know, we're going to court or whatnot, and then they had like what they call a fitness trial to see whether or not they were going to try me as an adult or a juvenile, and I lost my fitness trial. Oh. So they ended up sending me to
East Lake?
No. I seen like East Lake. I seen a lot of different, you know, what's the other one up? Silmar. Like, I seen a lot of different, you know, juvenile facilities or whatnot. But then I ended up going to what is it? It's in Linwood. It's the county jail. But it was the new county. They had just made the county, from my understanding, right? And then they had a juvenile section there, right? So one of the floors were for juvies, and it was for anyone who was getting tried as an adult. Ah. So we had our own section, right? And then so when I get there, you know, now being in LP was a different thing, right? Like, we would get down. It was just like, you know, fights and things of that nature, right? Nothing crazy. Like, ain't nobody got stabbed.
Yeah,
or like
I
that.
was gonna say, what would be like the worst thing that you experienced in the juvenile halls?
Just fights.
Just fights.
Basically, just basic fights. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, but you know, like it was fun shit. Like we liked that shit at that moment in my life. Like
I understand.
Like I thought it was fucking fun, and like it was a way to, you know, represent from my neighborhood and to put my name to earn my stripes, you know, and yeah. So then I ended up getting moved to because I ended up losing my fitness trial, right? And then they were like gonna send me to YA. So I had to go to Norwalk for like a 90-day observation. And that was part of like the fitness trial, right? To see if you were gonna be tried as a juvenile or an adult. And of course, you know, we want to be tried as a juvenile because we definitely are going to be looking at less time.
And you're going to come home.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to come home like sooner compared to if I get tried as an adult, I'm looking at like real time. Like I'm looking at years, like, you know, so it was serious, right? But being in the predicament that I was in and being from a neighborhood, right? Like I didn't have a choice, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to do what I had to do. Like I wasn't gonna go in there and just be a punk
for sure.
Or you know, so
you get to YA.
Yeah, so I get to YA, and YA is a whole different, you know, beast, right? And even though this is just like a 90-day observation, it's YA, you know? And now we're with dudes that are older, you know what I'm saying? Like they separate you by age, right? But you know, they got a little weight pile there, so you get there, dudes are like, you know, healthy. Like I'm not saying like huge, but they're healthy and they've been working out and you know, so are ready, like, you know what I mean? Like
he's like, I wasn't expecting that.
They definitely ready for whatever the fuck, you know? And it's straight gangbanging.
Yeah.
Like it's straight gangbanging, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's in there, you know. And so again, my day that I had drove up there on the van, I ended up rolling up with an enemy. I ended up rolling up with an enemy, right?
Together, you guys were
together. Yes, and we're shackled down.
You guys didn't freaking fight?
Yeah, we fought, but not right then and there, right? Because like we're shackled down. They got us shackled from the waist, from here, from our ankles as well, right? Like you're shackled, like you can barely fucking move. So I already knew as soon as I seen him, right? And he knew what was up too. So we didn't say shit, right? So like if you have an enemy and you say something, they'll put you in separate tanks, you know? But if you're with the business, like they ain't, you ain't gonna say shit, he ain't gonna say shit. And then we gonna get in this tank, and when they take these shackles off, you already know what's up, you know? So sure enough, boom, they put him, I had already hit him up on the bus, and I was like, your hood, blah, 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 you know. I dissed his hood and all that, yeah. And I was like, you already know what's up, fool. Like, soon as we get these shackles off, it's on. Boom. I was like, and don't snitch and don't try to go to another tank. You know what I'm saying? So soon as we get there, boom, they uncuff us. They uncuff me first. I go in the tank, and I'm just like let me say this fool's gonna be a bitch, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if he's with the business, you know what I mean? Because a lot of fools would be bitches and straight up be like, I can't go in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's my enemy. And yeah, a lot of people, like a lot of dudes at that time. But anyway, so, this dude had heart. And he was like, he didn't say shit.
A little more,
oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, I respect that. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't say shit, you know? He came up in there. Boom. So we're there, and he knows what's up. I know what's up. My shit's beating. You know, like, because I'm ready. He's ready, you know? And sure enough, soon as they left, boom, I get up and we start getting down. Boom, 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 boom. So we're getting busy. He probably hit me a couple of times too, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
fight?
Yeah, like it, I would say it was pretty even. Like I didn't beat his ass. He didn't beat my, like, we got busy. Like we got down, we handled our shit. And then after that, they came back and they maced us.
Oh, they knew?
No, they just heard it, you know? They heard us getting down. So they maced us. And this was my first day going to YA. You know what I'm saying? Like I just pulled up to YA, and this is how I'm coming in. And
you're going in right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming in already. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just have to say this because some people are be like, "Damn, Negra feels like she's like glorifying it," but it's not that. It's just we could relate, and if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it correctly.
It's the
and
culture.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's the lifestyle. It's the culture. You know what I'm saying? It's what we grew up and how we grew up at that time in our lives.
Behave.
Yeah.
If you're gonna behave, you're gonna behave correctly.
Yeah, and you're gonna.
So you guys get down. You're walking. It's your first day in YA. You got maced.
Yeah, I got maced.
Was this your first time getting maced?
Nah, I had been maced before, but this was the worst time because like I had just shaved my head the day before. I knew I was leaving, so I shaved my head.
You had to pull up fresh.
Yeah, I had to pull up fresh. You know what I'm saying? And,
the way we think is so crazy. Huh?
Right? No, but for real, it's like and. So being that I had just shaved my head and I got maced all in my head, and man, my shit felt like it was on fire. Like I had a ball of fire just on my fucking head, and it would not go out, you know? Yeah, that shit was burning. And I remember they separated us, and they take me to the restroom, and they're letting me wash off the mace, you know? So I wash off the mace, whatever. And then, they get us ready for the units, to go into the unit. So I go into the unit already. I'm already knowing, like I can't be on the bottom, on the top bunk. You know what I'm saying? That's already a regla that, like, the homies have in there, you know?
Oh, really?
And if you go on the top bunk, you're a bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. Like, I don't give a fuck where you go. If motherfuckers were on the top bunk, if they were on the top bunk, then they were considered leva, you know?
Oh, shit.
Straight up. Yeah, real shit.
So you had to go in there and fight for your damn bunk.
Oh, yeah. Off the top. Like that's my bunk, homie. Like, you already know what's up.
Get up off of it.
Yeah, straight up. And unless it was a homie.
Okay.
Unless it was a homie, then, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It didn't matter.
You didn't get to
But if you
choose your
get in
bunk.
there with a different race,
Got it.
like, you better be on that fucking bottom bunk, homie. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, and if you weren't, then it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Shit. Okay, so tell me.
So as soon as I get there, boom, I pull up. I don't remember where this dude was from, man. He was like a other, you know what I'm saying? But I'm already like, hey, you already know what's up. Like I need that bottom bunk, homie, straight up, or we can handle this. And he's like, nah, fool, like, you got it.
Yeah, you gotta take it away.
Like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
That was good.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah. What do you mean good for him?
No, that was good for him.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I didn't have
and
to,
good
you know
for
what I'm
you,
saying?
though, because then he's like, fuck, you just finished getting maced, you know, your head is burning, and you're.
But see, at that moment, I'm with the business, so I don't give a like, I'm ready to someone up again.
I know, but I mean, you know, now sitting back and, you know, it's probably like, oh my God, thank God, you know, I'm gonna have to.
Right.
Even though at the moment you're just like, fuck, you know.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to,
you're
like.
Ready.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in YA.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it is. Shit.
He said, good for him. No,
yeah, good for
you.
him. No, good for his ass, because in that cell is a different.
For sure.
It's a different environment, right? Like,
yes.
Like, you definitely can fight, and they won't know. And you could be in there beating the shit out of somebody for hours before they fucking come and save that person.
Got it. Got it.
So yeah, I got the bunk. Boom. Simple, easy. I was like, all right, cool. Whatever. And then some fool comes to my door. I remember the homie Sneaky from Rancho. I still remember. And RSP, the homie rolls up. And me and that fool end up running into each other later. But yeah, that's another story. And he's like, what's up, homie? What they call you? And I'm like, they call me Spanky from Northside Long, dog. Like, and he's like, all right, homie. He's like, hey, fool, you know you got an enemy like right here that just rolled up. And I'm like, who? And I was like, oh yeah, I just fucked that fool up. He's like, what? You guys got down? I was like, yeah, we already got down. Me and him rolled up together. He's like, oh, that's right, homie. So, you know what I'm saying? He's like, that's what's up. Like, he already handled this fool. You know what I'm saying? Before we even touched down. Like, yeah. That shit's already handled. So, it was just a different environment. Like, it was just a lot more strict. There was rules now. You know what I'm saying? Like
within each other.
Yes. So like when they say don't drop the soap type shit, like that shit's real. Like, if you drop your soap,
don't pick it up.
Don't touch it. You know what I'm saying? And if you do, you definitely gonna be dropped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't do that shit, straight up. You know, if you pick up your soap, you are drop level, and it's that serious. Like they don't fuck around. You know, and if you don't get down with your enemies, like everything goes. You know what I'm saying? There's no rules, like, as far as gang banging. You know, the homies stick together, but it's not like prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely it's everybody for them, every man for himself. You know what I'm saying?
Still, kind of.
Yeah. So like, you hold down your own. You every man for him, unless you got a homeboy there, or you got your road dog. Cause I ended up being tight with a bunch of homies from different neighborhoods and different areas. Like my boys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we end up dogging it, and like, you fuck with him, you with me, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so that's how it was for you, those 90 days.
Right. In those 90 days, you know, and just kind of going through that, right? And then I ended up running into my homeboy that, you know, I got busted with. He's a year older than me, and I'm hearing all kind of shit about him. Like I'm hearing all kind of shit about him. Like they're dropping him leva, and he ain't getting down with his enemies, and are dissing our hood, and he's allowing that shit.
Oh, you're
and just
pissed.
Oh yeah, I'm like, what? Like, hell no. Like, I would even get mad when fools would tell me, and I'd be like, fool, don't be talking shit about my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? But it was true. You know what I'm saying? Like, come to find out, it was true. So like, I can't defend that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't defend that shit. So, you know, I end up running into this fool in the infirmary. One day I go to the infirmary, he comes to the infirmary, and it wasn't planned or anything, right? It just happened. So I'm like, what's up, fool? Like what the homie? Like, what's cracking? Like, why am I hearing all this and that? And he's just telling me, like, you know what, fool? Like I don't want to bang no more, dog. Like, straight up, like, I don't want to bang no more, homie. Like
it got to him.
Yeah, it got to him, and this shit was going down since fucking LP, from what I found out, you know, and what I was hearing. So when we got to YA, that's where he just like completely like tapped out, you know. And I told the homie, I remember, I'm just like, look, fool, like, and he's telling me, you know, I'm Christian now, like I'm Christian, fool, and I'm just like, If that's your decision, homie, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? That's your decision.
Just stay that way.
But, you know, when we get home, fool, or when we get back out to the streets, don't fucking switch up. You know what I'm saying? Like remain that.
Yes,
you know?
Of course.
If that's what you're gonna be in here, well, you need to be representing, and you don't want to claim the hood, fool. Don't get out and then all of a sudden you back from Northside Longo and you're claiming the neighborhood again. Like,
of course.
Like, don't do that shit, fool. And I don't give a that's your choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't my reputation, you know? So it is what it is. And that day, from that day forth, I already knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? So I left it at that. I left it at that.
You respected it, which is
yeah. Like
okay.
I'm not gonna my homeboy up. Like, you know, we have history together, and we grew up, you know, and you know, at that moment I kind of felt let down. You know what I'm saying? I felt more up than anything. Like I didn't feel like I wanted to beat my homeboy's ass or nothing. Like, I just felt like, damn, like I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like I just felt like that's crazy.
It's not for everybody.
Right, you know? So anyways, I go through YA for the 90-day observation, and then I go back to court, right? Because you do your 90-day, they see how you do, and then that's where they're gonna decide whether or not you get tried as a juvenile
behavior.
Or yes. So I lose my fitness trial, right? And I get tried as a fucking adult. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So from there, that's where they moved me. That's where I was already back at the county. So I remember I went back to the county, and now I'm fighting now my actual case, which is yes, and it's a home invasion, armed robbery, you know, and these were serious allegations, right? Like home invasions at that time. They were all kind of brand new, and like so they were trying to make an example out of us for that. I was looking at 20 years, you know. I was looking at 20 years, and I could remember like the first time I go to like my what is it, like my pre-trial or whatever it is, and then just them telling me like, you know, you're looking at 10 years for the robbery, 10 years for the gun, you know, and I'm just like, what the like 20 years, like I'm 16, like I'm 16 years old, right? Like I'm thinking I'm looking at camp time, like a year and a half, like I could do that, you know. But nah, like now I'm just like this is real, you know.
Different.
This is definitely different. Like it hit different, you know. Like knowing that like I was facing 20 years, you know, of my life. Like I couldn't see that, you know. I couldn't see that at 16 years of age, being gone for 20 years, like, or even 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, so just going back, fighting the case. You know what I'm saying? I ended up taking a deal. You know, I ended up taking a deal. I ended up getting 10 years. And I ended up getting 85% that I had to serve out of that, you know?
Okay.
So I remember I was 17 years old after, you know, the trial, everything was said and done. I got my time, you know what I'm saying? And I remember like leaving the county, and I'm still in the juvenile, you know, section. And they happened to throw me on the main line with the big boys. Like
you're 17.
I'm 17 years old, right? And I was like, what the hell? Like I was, you know, I ain't gonna lie, like honestly, like that was the first time I was probably scared, you know, like as a 17-year-old kid. And then even though like I was who I was and doing what I was doing, but like everybody knows, you know, when you hit the main line in prison, like that is shit. Like this shit's real, you know. So I'm 17 years old, and I'm on the main line with the older dude, you know. And I could remember just being like, you guys aren't gonna like put me on a like juvenile section, or you know what I'm saying, like like until I turn 18, or Nah, they threw my ass straight on the main line. So I remember I went to North Kern State Prison, and it was like a reception yard. And I remember like the first time that I got there, and running into a homie from Weedmas, and he's like, man, fool, like how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 17. And he's like, what? He's like,
is that even allowed?
Honestly, to this day, I feel like that, like it was some type of violation. Like I don't believe that they were supposed to do that. I just think that it was so new that they didn't have the system for it, or you know what I'm saying, for like sure. Like cause
according to them, you're charged as an adult, so he could be with the adults,
right?
Even though.
But they don't do that though. Like they'll hold you until you're 18 now, and then, you know, well afterwards, that's what they were doing. They was holding you until you're 18, and then once you turn 18, then release you.
You were just one of the younger. You were just.
I was one of the first ones. Like I was one of the first ones. So I just figured like they didn't really have the system down or set up yet to where they had it figured out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, wow, like I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? And just being 17 and hitting the main line and being with the big boys was a trip. And
the homie asking you like, hey, how old are you?
Right. He's just like, hey, fool, how are you here? You know? And I'm like, no, like I ain't trying to be here either. Shit, like, like, you know.
So you were like one of the young. Well, you were the youngest one.
I was the youngest one, like for sure.
Did the guys behave different with you?
Honestly, like I would say, like a lot of the older dudes, like really did look at me like a young brother. or just like a young homie they had to like look after, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of older homies, you know, schooled me like on the right way to go about things and what it was like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a complete different now rule set, you know, compared to like LP and YA. Like now we're living by a whole different set of rules, you know, and guidelines and things like that. So, you know, there's people there definitely that would like take advantage of somebody young.
If they didn't have the correct knowledge. Exactly.
Like if you weren't gained right, like if you didn't have the right schooling, if you didn't have the knowledge as far as how things go in there, like there were dudes that would definitely take advantage of that, you know, and try to use you to do their dirty work. You know what I'm saying? So being that, you know, I grew up the way I grew up and around the people I grew up around, like the homies took me in with love and just like were already schooling me on how things went, you know what I'm saying?
How to carry yourself correctly.
And just like the rules, you know, there's a lot of rules and things that, you know, you can and can't do, you know? So, you know, I ended up doing my 90-day observation. Things went cool. You know, I could remember one day being on the yard and like this older fool coming up to us and like, hey, fool, like this fool needs to get dealt with. And we're trying to, you know, get a homie to like handle this shit. And I'm just like, fool, why don't you handle it?
Yeah, you want to present the problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like why you bringing it up to us, trying to get us to, you know, volunteer? Like, why don't you handle it, homie? You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of shit
you gotta watch out
that
for.
You had to, you know, that's the type of shit that went down, you know what I'm saying? And people would look for younger fools to prey on as far as doing their dirty work, you know? But if you didn't know better, or if you just wanted to make a name for yourself, then, you know what I'm saying? But like me knowing better, I'm just like, nah, fool, like why ain't you handling that shit? You know, that's how I took it, you know? And yeah, after that, he didn't say shit. He walked off, whatever. He just seen like we weren't biting, you know what I'm saying? Or we weren't trying to volunteer or like raise my hand or do anything at that moment. Remember, like, I'm 17 years old. I'm trying to figure this shit out, you know? Like, I'm not trying to raise my hand and do something. Like, I don't even know what I'm getting involved in, you know?
At least you were smart enough.
Right, and I had a celly at that time. I remember his name was Patas, and he was from Orange County, and this fool had some patas. Like, that's why they called his ass Patas. His feet were crazy, but you know, he was an older dude, and he basically schooled me a lot, like and in the right ways, you know? And he kind of looked at me like as if I was like a younger son to him, you know what I'm saying? Like he had that type of love for me and shit, and he was a good dude, man. Like, I remember him just showing me from washing your clothes, you know what I'm saying? How to get a razor and shave, like, you know, like, remember, I'm 17 years old, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just a baby. Like,
tell me about the washing the clothes.
So basically, you know, just like you would have to like clean out your toilet, you know, as crazy as it sounds, but like we would definitely make sure we cleaned out our toilets really well and our sinks, and that had to stay, you know, in tip-top shape, right? And you would wash your clothes within your sink and your toilet, you know? That's how you would get down. Like, we would wash them, and we'd wash our clothes on a daily basis, hang them up in the cell, let them dry, and that was it, you know what I'm saying? Like, but, because, you know, you didn't want to wait for laundry. Laundry was like every so often, and then it gets washed with everything. It's just nasty, you know what I'm saying? So we would just wash them ourselves. But yeah, he showed me that. He showed me how to bird bath. I was like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, we bird bath kind of like in YA, but it was different. Like, it was a different type of bird bath. Like, we would soap up in ourselves and then go to the showers and rinse off. And yeah, but you know, in prison, it's just like you shower right there in your cell, which is a bird bath. You know what I'm saying? You sit over your toilet, fill your sink up, and you handle your business. But he showed me all of that too, like, you know, how to put the towels down, block the door so you don't leak water out, you know what I mean?
How many towels did you guys get?
I mean, honestly, it's
Or can
probably
you buy your own towels?
right there. No. Right there,
It
no.
was just like
it was
reception.
basically like a hookup. Yeah, yeah. Everything we were pretty much just locked down most of the time.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
So you were learning though.
Yeah, yeah.
You were learning in those 90 days.
Right. You barely came out. You know, we came out maybe like once every week. You know what I'm saying? If that, once or twice. Like, so it was pretty locked down. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was figuring out where they're going. And dealing with their counselor and how many points you ended up with, you know, it depended on what yard you were going to and what type of prison, you know. So that's kind of what was going on there.
So what prison did you end up going to?
So crazy story, right? So I remember going to deal with my counselors and all that, and they ask you like what kind of job you want to do and all this and this and that. But really, it don't matter. It's just like where they have bed space, right? So I ended up hitting Centinela, and I ended up on a 3-yard. You know what I'm saying? So I get to Centinela, I'm on a 3-yard, and now I know like I'm in prison. You know what I'm saying? There's no joke. Like we definitely, like, I gotta be on my shit. I gotta be on my toes, like, you know. And I'm still 17 years old, you know. So now I know, like, I'm gonna be on the main line now. Like when I was in reception, like I said, we hardly came out. Like there wasn't much to get into. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty locked down, you know. But so I get to Centinela, boom, and you know I'm in my cell. And I remember just like, you know, what's gonna happen? Like, how's this gonna go down? You know, and I get a kite one day. You know what I'm saying? I get a little kite, and I'm like, what the like, who's this from? You know? And I look, and I read, and I'm just like, it's from my brother. It's from my brother. You know?
Which one?
My brother that was busted for murder.
Okay.
He ended up getting busted, right? So he was doing life.
Your second brother?
My second oldest, yes. It was a kite from him, and he's just like, what's up, bro? Like, I'm over here on this yard, boo, boo, boo.
Did you know your brother was there?
No.
You had no idea?
I had no clue.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? And he's just like, hey, I'm going to get you pulled over here on the yard I'm on, and this and that. You know, my brother had pull already. You know, remember, and he was a lifer, so he was already, he went to Folsom, you know what I'm saying? And now he was down here, down south, so he was there in Centinela on the 3-yard, and he had been there, you know, for years. So he knew everyone on the yard. He knew, he had all the hookups, you know what I'm saying?
He knew what he had to do to.
Oh yeah. So he basically got me pulled over to the yard he was on. Yeah, and so I remember the first day we seen each other. Now remember, like, I haven't seen him since I was maybe like 9 or 10.
Oh my God, I want to cry.
Yeah, you know. So I didn't see him, you know, for years, you know, and this is like 8 years later, and I remember we were passing each other on the yard, and like he's talking to someone he knew, and he's like, hey fool, like my carnal is supposed to be over there, like, and he's like, who, and he's telling him he's Spanky, you know what I'm saying, from North Salongo, and I'm like, it's me, bro, and he's just like, hey, what's, you know, so he didn't recognize me, and I didn't recognize him, you know what I'm saying, like I didn't recognize my brother either, like he's all big, and he got this big old rocha and shit, like, you know. So
was he still a user in there?
When he could,
okay,
you know what I'm saying, like he wasn't like addicted or anything like that, but like, yeah, he f***ed around, you know, he f***ed around when he could. So
you guys saw each other, you guys gave each other a hug?
Well, we weren't able to, because like we're in the chow line, you know what I'm saying, but this was the first day that he pulled me over there, you know? So I remember, like, he was telling me, hey, they're gonna pull you into the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? So just, you know, go with the homie, and then I'm gonna meet you in the kitchen. So that same night, after chow, when I went to chow that night, one of the homies was like, come on, fool. And then he got me, and he's like, throw on this thing. I threw on like some kitchen shit, and I'm over there like cleaning the dishes and shit. And so I'm in the kitchen now. And then my brother comes in, and he does the same shit, and he's right there, and we're cleaning dishes, you know. And the homies pull us together, you know what I'm saying? Then after chow, we get to just kick it and chop it up and catch up, you know. So it was a trip, man. It was like, for me, was like, damn, like, hell yeah, like
kind of like a dream come true.
Man, like, you know, think about it. Like, I'm 17. I'm a kid, and I'm on the main line, you know. So I don't know nobody. I don't know what's up, you know. For reals. Like, I had a little bit of schooling and things like that, but still, like,
you can only
it don't
get so
mean
much
shit.
of those 90 days.
You know. So now I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm hearing my big bro, like, yeah, like, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? And sure enough, my brother had me move to the same building he was at, and yeah, we ended up selling up.
How was that?
You know, it was cool, man. Like, it was a trip. Like, we ended up like really like being able to catch up as far as like brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like,
as men brothers.
Right, you know. And like my brother took me completely under the wing, and basically just like now I knew I was getting the right schooling, you know.
Brother.
Yeah, this is my carnal. Like, I know for a fact, like, he's not gonna lead me in the wrong direction, or you know what I'm saying, tell me anything that isn't right, you know.
Yes.
And sure enough, like, yeah, like he definitely schooled me the right way, you know, throughout my time. Like,
were you there with him the whole time?
No. Like, we ended up doing like 4 years together.
Oh.
Yeah, we ended up doing 4 years together,
and I'm sure those 4 years were kind of smooth.
Oh man, yeah, they were great. You know what I'm saying? Like remember, like, I was just a young baby, like, when my brother got busted, so I didn't really get to know him like that, you know. And in this time, like, we really got to bond and just get like that brother love, you know.
Did your mom visit you guys?
She did when she could.
But when you guys were together.
Right. Yeah.
Like once, or at least?
At least, yeah. But, you know, it was hard for my mom to make it out there. It was far, and, you know, we didn't really expect that too much of our mom. Like, she didn't have, like, much help or whatnot, you know? So it wasn't, we didn't see her that much. But she did come one time to visit us.
And you guys were together?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And, you know, it's like, it's weird, and it's just like, she was happy and at the same time sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, happy that we were together and happy to see her sons, but then like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're locked up. Yeah. Like, look at these dumb motherfuckers, right? Like,
yeah, as a mom, like,
right,
you know, yeah.
Yes, you know. Yeah, so yeah, my mom definitely went through
so
a lot.
You guys were together for 4 years. Everything you said was, you know, was smooth. It wasn't like crazy. You know, I'm sure you guys had your crazy moments.
Well, yeah, like,
you know, you're in prison.
Yeah, when I first got there, right, we had just came off lockdown, and they ended up killing somebody there. The guards ended up killing someone, and it just so happened to be that, like, it was my brother's cellie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, my brother was just involved in a situation where some norteños were moved down there by accident, and then so when they got off, you know, when they came out the cells, my brother and his cellie, and then them, and so they rushed them. Boom. And you know, I don't remember. My brother's cellie was stabbing the dude, right? And the guards are just like, get down. And if they see a knife, you know, then they have the right to.
Obviously.
So then they ended up firing a shot. Boom. And they ended up shooting my brother's cellie, like, in the ass, right?
Oh.
But it traveled up through his body. And it ended up killing him.
Wow.
It ended up killing him, yeah. So, like, they had just came off lockdown from that shit, you know what I'm saying? And my brother, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, you know? And but yeah, that so he was telling me about that, you know, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, somebody just died, you know what I'm saying? Like,
bed? And I'm sleeping in his bed?
No, we were in a different cell. Like, we were in a different cell by then.
My brain works kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, you know, that was my introduction into prison.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this just happened, and not while I was there, but right before I got there.
Yeah. So tell me, like, how did you feel once that you had to get moved, or how did that happen? Because you said you were with him for 4 years.
So they ended up moving my brother, actually.
Okay.
You know, he ended up dropping points.
Oh, okay.
And when you drop points, they move you to a different yard,
Got it.
So I believe at that moment, like, Soledad was the only place that was accepting lifers on a 2-yard. Because I guess the facility, like, they had the infrastructure, you know what I'm saying, for high security. So my brother had got his points dropped down, and like he could have easily like got some points added on, like got some write-ups or whatever. But I'm like, nah, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's time, like I'm trying to, like, hopefully my brother can get a date. You know, so
at the moment, is he still?
He's a lifer, you know. No, he's home now. He's home now. Yeah. So you know, I'm hoping that, you know, he can get a date, and I'm just like, nah, don't get no points. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like just go and handle it, man. Like, I'm good, you know. And it was a sad moment, right, for me and him. You know, but then it was like, well, we know that this is what it is, and just like, you know, this is where we part ways. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a trip. You know what I'm saying? But I was already, now at this moment, I'm like, what, 20, 21, 22, you know, and so I felt like, you know, I was comfortable enough to, like, hold my own and be all right. And then my brother done schooled me.
Not that you weren't, but now you were.
Right, like he can leave and know that I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like this little kid no more, you know? Like, I'm still young, but, like, I'm not just like this little 17-year-old boy, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we parted ways. He went his way, and you know, I happened to, like, leave. So, cause I've been to, like, a few different prisons, you know. Like, I ended up hitting, like, every single yard you can hit in prison. I was on, you know, hole, the shoe, level 1, level 2.
How many prisons did you go to?
So I went to Tehachapi. Tehachapi was the prison I went when I left Centinela. And I hit a 2-yard. So I dropped my points finally, and I went down to a 2-yard, which is like dorm living, you know. So I was there for like a couple years, and then I ended up dropping down to a level 1. So I ended up hitting a level 1 in Tehachapi, and that was a trip.
Why?
Like, cause it was just so, like, free, and like you had a key to your cell.
What?
Yeah, like, it was crazy.
I never heard
like,
that one.
Yeah, it was a trip, right? So, like,
how long did you last there?
I was there for about, I think, like 2-3 years maybe.
Oh, but I'm sure it was completely, like, calmer and smoother.
Well, definitely, it was a lot looser. You know, like
looser
like,
in what form?
As far as like rules and just like people doing shit that they weren't supposed to be doing.
Like?
Man, there was this crazy shit going on. Like, you had transvestites and you know, people messing with them, and just getting married and shit to like yeah. Like, they was having marriages and just. How
did you feel being in prison and being in those?
I couldn't like, believe it.
And that, like, level 1 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Like I was like, what the where the am I? You know, like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But the upside to that was, like, you had so much freedom, right?
Like, well, I'm going home, whatever.
Like, you have so much freedom. And it wasn't like a bad yard. It wasn't like a PC yard or nothing. I never been on anything, you know, no bad yards or nothing like that I had to worry about, right? So, the yard was good.
It was just, you know.
But it was just like I would say like like it was just like everybody would still kind of like run with the homies and we held ourselves to a certain standard, right? But there was a bunch of bullshit going on around us, you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
And yeah, so that was a trip, but at the same token, it was just like you had a key to your cell, you know what I mean? You were making good money there because they had what is it called again? Where you make clothes. I forget what it was called, but everyone was trying to get there, right? Because you get like a pay number and you get to make good money monthly right there, you know? And then having your own cell, like it was
you
just
have a key in them.
yeah, like you come and go as you please. Right when they release for breakfast, that's it. Yards open all day until count time. You know, so yeah, that was a trip. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Right. Yeah. We have fun. We have fun there though, you know, like so the homies stuck together like and we had a tight little knitted group, you know what I'm saying? Like over there, you know, they didn't check paperwork, you know, so you didn't know who was who, you know, but the group that we had as far as the homies and the solid homies, like we all did that with each other. Yeah. So that's kind of how we watched our circle and the things that, you know, we were into. But we happened to, you know, get into a riot actually on that yard. Yeah, it was a big riot, and that shit lasted for a while. Like 5 minutes in a riot is a long time. Like let me tell you, a minute is a long time. So imagine 5 minutes. Yeah. So I remember like it happened to be a racial riot, you know, and someone actually tried to like bully one of our little homies, you know, and yeah, that's what kicked it off, and we kind of like just.
They probably didn't think that it was gonna happen because you guys were in a level 1, huh?
I don't really think that was the thought process. Okay. I just think in the moment they just weren't thinking right. Got it. And thought like it wasn't gonna lead up to like as big of an issue as it did, you know. But yeah, definitely it did because we don't play that shit. Like like you don't with ours, like period. Like and if you do, then your people better handle it, or you know. Got it. It is what it is.
Is that where you paroled from?
No, I didn't end up paroling from there. You know, I didn't end up paroling from there. I ended up leaving from there. You know, I actually went to the hole from there. I went to the hole. No, I actually got away. That situation. Yeah, like I didn't go to the hole for that. So I ended up going to the hole for another situation, and I would say like about 3 months in the hole, and I ended up beating the case. So I got put back on the yard. I got put back on the 1 yard, right? And I was there for a few months, and then I got caught up again, and then I went back to the hole, and then this time I got a shoe term. So like I had to do like time in the shoe. So I was in Tehachapi shoe. Once I got done with my shoe term, I ended up going to Calipatria. That's where they ended up shipping me to, you know. So I get to Calipat, boom, I hit the main line on the 4 yard. I was
damn. So you went from the yard 1 or yard 1 to 4, right? Even though you came from, you know, you worked yourself down, you were doing good, and obviously you had to deal with certain things because you know weird shit happens. Yeah. So you're back at Calipat. Well, you're not back, but you're Calipat, right? Level 4 or yard 4, whatever.
Yes. And then I was there for about a year. My points ended up dropping, and then they moved me to Ironwood, and then Ironwood State Prison. That's kind of where I paroled from. Okay. Yeah, I ended up paroling from Ironwood, but while I was in Ironwood, you know, we had got into a situation there also with the police. with the COs. So we had a riot there against the COs. Mm-hmm. And that was crazy, you know, because that didn't happen much, you know what I mean? But
there was a period of time in those years that it was happening a lot.
Yes, definitely, because, you know, when you're on a yard and, you know, there's certain COs there that are disrespectful, mm-hmm. you know, and they feel and they use their power in the wrong way, in the wrong manner, you know. And then when things like that start happening, you know, things trickle down, and like we definitely aren't cool with that, you know. Course. Like, and that's especially where you guys live. Right, especially if you're gonna be you know, bringing like punishments and dumb shit, you know, to our house, and you know, so yeah, there was one CO in particular, and he was just like a bully, you know, and he would just like hit your house and just like your whole shit up, and
just because,
just to be a dick, you know, like, and he was just one of them dudes like by the book, and like you know, like he wouldn't come to just get paid, like he would come with us.
Yeah, like it's okay to be by the book, but don't be extreme.
Right, you know, like I didn't like you. At least you knew, like if you were by the book, you knew you knew how they were gonna act. You knew what you had, you know, what you were gonna get from them, mm-hmm. specific, you know, COs, and which was cool, whatever, you know. But like this dude was just a dick, you know. So it had just, you know, got to a point where like he had got one of the littler homies, a younger homie, and he had like Pruno in his cell or some bullshit, right? And you know, he had him outside of the cell, and he was cuffing him up, but he's like roughing him up, like you know, and then he picks him up and slams him while he's cuffed. And then so that was it. That's where it just kicked off. You know what I mean? So soon as the homies see that, like, you know, it's like boom. It's just cracked off. You know. So we ended up rushing the 2 CO, him and his partner. And his partner just happened to be a like innocent bystander. Like you're just, what is that called? When collateral damage, like, yeah, he was collateral damage, right?
It is
like,
what it is, yeah.
And yeah, so you should have checked your partner, yes. Like, you know, you should have.
I'm sure he probably did, and he was so over his partner. I bet you. I don't know, but I bet you, you know, it's just like, oh, relax.
Right.
Because they talk to each other like that, you know.
Yeah. But he was just one of those that, you know. So anyways, like it ended up kicking off like a whole thing between us and them. And so we ended up rushing them, boom, and then they ended up coming through and just like gaffling a bunch of, like, cuffing a bunch of us up. But at the end of the day, like they couldn't really prove anything, right? Because like they had to have evidence, or the CO that specifically pointed you out, you know. And I happened to get away at that time, because like, you know, you have your ID, and like you have to give them your ID and all that. Well, I wouldn't carry my ID with me, because specifically for situations like this, like, and so I would just give them a fake name, you know. And I happened to give them a fake name that day, and they took it down and everything, and they ended up writing my write-up under that fake name. So I beat it.
Because there was like no one.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I gave them a different cell, everything. So when they went to, like, they still had me cuffed and everything, right? Like they took me and everything, but like when it came down to it, they didn't have my right name, they didn't have my right cell number. So then they had to release me. Like I was able to beat it. Boom, I didn't have to worry about anything about that, you know. And then I ended up going. That's when like I paroled from Ironwood. I would say, what was it, 2007. 2007 is where I paroled. And, you know, just coming home was a trip, because, like, remember, I had 10 years with 85%, but then I ended up doing a total of 12 years, you know? So I pretty much maxed out my time, and I caught
some more,
time, you know? And, so coming home was just, I couldn't believe it. Like I spent all my juvenile years in prison.
And most of your 20s.
Right. I got out when I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like from a juvenile to a grown man, you know, and
Adjustment for you.
oh my, yeah, it was crazy, you know.
What would you say was the hardest part of adjusting to like obviously it's reality, but to the world out here?
Honestly, I would have to say just day-to-day life, right? Like paying bills, you know, car payments, holding down a job, you know, making enough money. Like I was like, fuck, like this is life. Like I'm living to pay bills. You know? Mm-hmm. That was kind of like where I was just like, man, this is stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
This is how we live. This is how normal.
You know what I mean though? Like I was like, this is like, damn, like we just live to pay bills and
that's why I always kind of
work,
say,
you
like,
know?
Yeah, I always say, like, the free world is not for the weak.
Oh, 100%.
Like this world, living in the outside world is not for the weak. Like
you ain't
if
lying.
You can't handle the real world and you choose to live, you know, do things to make money faster. I'm not talking shit, guys.
Right.
I'm just saying, like,
right.
You know, you're choosing. Like you're either gonna go back or you're gonna go back, or you're setting up your kids for failure.
Yeah, 100%.
You expect. I mean, in a way, it's, you know, you always want to teach your kids to do better. You know, you want more money, so go to school. But when they see otherwise, like, what do you expect your kids to be?
Right.
You know,
you gotta be that example.
And you know, if you see your parents working hard, or even you say like, "Hey, my mom did this for this reason, so that we don't starve." But at least like, some of them realize, like, you know, but I can't do that. You know, you gotta tell them, you gotta teach them the right way. So tell me where you're at now. Like, what do you do?
So, you know, I just like worked a lot of like different jobs and everything like that, you know. But I remember I was in the refinery, right? And I'm gonna just tell you the story to tell you where we ended up, right? And at this time, I'm with my wife, you know. Me and my wife been married now 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was on a not a layoff, but like a turnaround from the refineries, and we're sitting out on the porch, you know, and me and my wife were talking, and she's just like, man, like if you could do whatever you want, what would you do? You know, like what would you really want to do? Because I'm like, man, I'm tired of this refinery and like this shit's bullshit, and just like, you know, the hours are crazy, and I'm just like, you know what, shit, you know, I was tattooing when I was locked up. I was like, I would love to get back into tattooing, you know, like that was my shit, you know, that was my hustle.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was my hustle, and I've always been into art, you know. So she's like, well, then start tattooing, and I'm like, I know, right? Like, you know what? You're right. Like, so I remember the next day I went and bought me a little tattoo kit from this little Chinese little spot, like. And I had a whole kit, boom, and then I ended up setting up my garage as a place to tattoo, and I just start tattooing from there. I remember putting up like a post on Craigslist.
Aww.
That's when Craigslist was up, you know, and I remember I was just like, I was doing for trades too. I was doing it for money, and I was doing it for trades, you know, like, hey, you had a laptop or something, like, come on, I'll tat you up, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, so I was tatting, you know, for different things.
And you were working still as well.
Yeah, I was working still, but I was on a layoff, so I was just mainly focused on this. And then it just happened to be like, it blew up. Like I was busy every single day in the garage, like tattooing.
Nice.
And I was just like, wow, like this is a good way to make a living, you know. It's legal, like I love to do it, you know what I mean? So from that point I started like just like venturing off into like other shops. I'm like, let me go see what it's like, you know what I mean? And then let me go also see what the business side of this is, you know, because ultimately I'm like, I'm gonna open up my own shop, you know. And yeah, that's where like I just went off, worked at a few shops or whatnot, and then from that point I started looking for my own place, you know. So me and my wife, we happened to just stumble across this place one day. Like it was set for rent, and it just happened to be like that that place wasn't for rent, but the apartment behind it was for rent.
So it was perfect.
Yeah, well, no, like they weren't renting it, right? But the apartments in the back were renting. So we go and we hit him up, and he's like, nah, you know, we're renting the apartment. But he had a little store in the front. He's like, but, you know, the people are going to leave. You know, I'm trying to get rid of them. Like, we're not happy with them, you know? And we're like, well, we're interested, you know what I mean? Like it's a perfect location, whatever. So they ended up like kicking them out. Like a year later, we're still looking. I'm ready to give up. I'm like, you know, I'm like, you know what? I can't find nowhere. Like this is just not gonna work. You know, like I need to figure something out. Like, you know, working from home, I don't like bringing all these people to my house. You know, where my family's at. You know, so like, you know, remember I'm tattooing on strangers and stuff. So I ended up getting a call one day, and happened to be the owner, and he's like, hey man, like, are you still interested in the place I have for lease? And I'm like, what? Like, hell yeah. And he's like, okay, well, come down, you know, we'll look at the place. And so I go down there, we look at the place and everything, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is perfect, you know. So I end up leasing it, signing like I don't remember if it was a 3-year lease or 5. I don't remember. But anyways, I ended up leasing it, and then I ended up doing like all the remodeling myself, you know. I didn't have a lot of money back then. Like I had a little bit of savings put away from the refineries and stuff. You had to do what you had to do little by little at a time, however it went. Right. You did it. So I started remodeling, like redoing the floor, and then I remember putting a sign out like tattoo shop coming soon. You know what I mean?
Oh, I bet you that made you feel so happy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I was definitely proud. Like nobody I know or grew up with, you know, ever did anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely something huge for myself, and for my family. You know, I wanted to build a legacy and something from my family as well. And so I ended up remodeling it. 3 months later, I ended up opening it, and boom. Now,
what is the name of it?
It's called Connect Inc.
Connect Inc.
Right. So
because that's the name of your Instagram.
Yes.
Connect Inc. We're obviously going to put it so people could see. Right. We're going to tag you.
For sure.
Yes, you know?
Yeah. But you can find me on Instagram. But like, if you really think about it, like Connect Inc. is broke down from the word connecting. Right? So it's connecting, but it's Connect Inc. Got it. Yeah. And it's because, like, you know, I'm connecting with so many different walks of life, so many different, you know, people from all over the place, right? And when you get a tattoo, basically your artist is with you forever. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always know who did your tats, like, you know. But yeah, so I happened to like get the shop up and going. It's been successful now for 7 years and counting. Yes. Congratulations. Right. So that's been a big thing. But like, my biggest, you know, venture now has been tattoo training.
Oh, tattoo training.
Yes.
Tattoo training. That's
so
good.
I'm actually like training people from a very like beginner level, right? Like I don't care if you have prior experience or you have little experience. Or none, right? Like I could definitely train you to be a artist. And you know, it's something like coming home and coming out of prison, a lot of people are talented as far as art goes, right? So I've always seen it too as a way to give back to that. Yeah. And not just that, right? Because even people out here want the opportunity to be a tattoo artist and start a career. It's just like anything, like barber school.
Yeah,
right?
I understand.
Yeah, same thing, right? So that's my biggest venture as of now.
Nice.
Like I've been doing it for 2 years. It's been very successful. Yes. You know, like I'm actually wanting to open up my own training facility.
How cool is that?
So that's where it's headed.
Well, people are going to be listening. Obviously,
right.
You know?
So definitely, you know what I'm saying. Look me up if anyone's interested in training or just tattooing. You know what I'm saying. Like we're out in Bellflower, California. The address is 9722 Artesia Boulevard.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm on Instagram. That's mainly where I connect with a lot of people, and it's Connect Inc. 9722. But yeah, man, if anybody's looking to get trained or you want to start a career in tattooing, I can help you out with that. Yeah, and you know, I want to try to get involved with like people like myself, right? People that come out of prison and don't really know which way to go or what to do with their lives. Kind of get something going where we can offer them training, and then that can be their you know, their
starting point.
Yes, where they can basically go on from there. Yeah, and because that's how I started, you know, and you can make good money.
Somewhere to start.
Yes, 100%, you know?
Well, I love that. Congratulations on everything you're doing. I'm sure it's going to be even bigger, you know.
Right.
We're still young. We're still young.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
We still a lot of life.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything you would like to share that you haven't shared before we close?
No, just, you know, basically we covered a lot, you know, and I just want to say, like, I'm a big fan of what you guys got going on here, you know. I follow your husband, and yeah, you guys are giving a lot of opportunities and really shedding light on our community and our culture, and it's a great thing, you know, because we don't have many platforms like this, you know. So it's a beautiful thing to see, and then to see you guys becoming successful at it, you know, it's definitely encouraging and just like inspiring, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you guys.
Both ways, because I'm sure you're helping the community, and you're helping a lot of people do what you do. You know, not just our culture, but just young artists. You know,
definitely.
Well, thank you again for coming on Indicted TV.
I appreciate it.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.